So I feel like it's a bit cringe to immediately start recording when you run into pros, but this was actually a pretty good game I played with a 3-stack. And for the record, I just want to state before we begin this replay and we start watching it, pros don't try in ranked, at least not entirely, you know. So when you do run into them, this replay is meant to be purely educational. So I'm just going to explain some of the thought processes going on in my head and try to compare it. So if you guys are looking to get into all CS, or anybody who's just looking to grow or get better, here you go. So just understand that this is not at their top form, but it's a very, very good benchmark, I think, you know, for what you're going to deal with. So for me, I don't see Arc going. He's low boost, so I know if he gets beat, it's over. I know Squishy doesn't have an angle. And here's the thing, what I think is funny about people that do this. So Squishy is second to Beastabonium, right? He's going to push out super wide. And to me, I'm not threatened at all in the slightest about him going for this. Now, I'm going to show you my perspective. I know he has no angle to this. And there's no way in hell he gets a double going on. So if Beast somehow drops it, I know from this angle, he's not going to also score that. So I'm going to be able to go for it. Arc just goes to mark the mid. And after that, I'm able to mark the shot. So it looks a lot scarier than it actually is. We're going to continue. It's a little bit messy. I think Arc has the 1-3. So there was something I immediately worked with him on. I mean, he landed there. But one of the things I recommended to him is that when you're pushing out, it's better to do so wide. Now, this is a bit of a bad example just because he got bumped. But the reason why is because, first of all, you need boost, you need space, you need time. You need a time. Okay, so time and space go right together, right? So if you get a little bit more time with a little bit more boost, it's going to allow you to basically kind of logically deduct what's going on in the offender's head, at least in this case. Now, if it's Squishy, you could expect that he's just going to have a really good first touch. But my point is something I was working with him on. If you don't get bumped, for example, you want to come around something like this, you know, and maybe come to this pad and then start your cut and look, and then after that, you're just calming. So you're calming with each other. You're trying to see who's going to go next. So in this case, KJ is going to go next because it looks a little weird for Arc. I think Squishy actually didn't have the best of touches. Beast is going to go next, which is this is punishable. And now we should have a guy from this takeoff angle that's able to go for it. And you can see his angle is a little bit off, so he has to kind of reach around it to hook it. And that's not going to cut it in the pros. They're just going to get a really good clear. Okay, so back into my POV. So you're going to see right here, I'm like, hey, I can't turn. When I see Arc go for this, I'm like, okay, it's a bad shot. I want to be able to turn and go for this, but to me, I'm just like, I'm super low boost. It's better to just give space. I called off and I said, I'm going back, right? It spawns, KJ gets the demo. I know I have time and space, and now I have two options. I could try and get it around right here and force it into Delta, who is now going to take this ball. Or I can, okay, we got everything working. So I could force it around, or I could just shake the 50 and then just keep everything super controlled. So for me, I'm just going to allow Beast to kind of approach, and he's going to force, and I'm just going to play it around. And that's not the best. Ideally, I don't want to hit it entirely into the midfield. I want to hit it like more here, just so that Delta has to hit it really square. And this is a really good hit. And there's another thing is when you end up in these positions, like you could see Arc here, you could see that he's really trying to dive for it. And I told him, I said, no. I said, if it's really obvious, right, and you can go for it, then go for it. But if I'm just going to shoot it, don't dive, right? So just play the bounce. And usually they're going to be on their back foot. You can see Squishy is mega awkward. He's having to come off the roof of the net because what should happen is that somebody plays the bounce. And that's not what happened in this case. So somebody plays the bounce of the wall. So let's say Arc doesn't dive. He's going to go like this. And then it's going to go here. And then Squishy's trying to mark that right there, basically. He's trying to mark this angle shot. So that was a small mistake that happened. And then another small mistake right here. So this is very nuanced. I honestly don't want to post this video for the fact that I feel like I'm literally giving away the farm. But there's one or two situations that's going to happen. Now, if you watch my POV, you get to see that when I'm approaching this angle right here with 0 boost, I see that KJ has a free beat. I know he's beating Beastabonium here. And then I'm going to look to cut in. And now now what I normally do when I end up in these positions is I'll go wide like this. I won't even go close. like what he's doing, I'll be on the sideline and I'll check way deep, because when they inevitably get this clear, like first, I don't think Swishy should be going for this. Like what happens is majority of the time, if it bounces off this wall like this, and this guy could come across and get a fat clear, they're usually going to prioritize him to reset the entire offense and really get that fat clear. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to force it as wide as possible so that this is so I'm trying to limit him. So if he tries to greed an angle to really hit it far out, then I'm going to be able to land a 50 on it, and then it's going to go hit this wall, and then Arc is going to start to turn in, and then KJ is going to take his position. But if he doesn't try to greed it, he plays it around, well, then he's still going to hit it right around here, and then it goes right into Arc. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to shove him like really hard, like into that, and trying to force them to basically give the ball up. By virtue of having two attackers. You know, we have one attacker to force, so he has to give it up, or otherwise we 50 him, and you don't want to 50 this in front of net, or you force the clear, you give it away, and then you just let Arc do his thing and get this ball, and then you know, we're rolling. You know what I mean? So who's texting me? We get it back. So here's what I think he should have done. And it was what I told Arc. When you end up in these situations where you're basically, you know, like you're looking, you have one of two options. You got two guys back here, right? You usually take here, you know, if the ball comes like this, usually in a standard rotation, but in this case, it's okay to rotate inside, but you can rotate through the sideline, grab this full, and then start to make your turn in. And then from there, like you have one of two options. Either you grab this boost, or you cut in Mector early and you say, fuck the boost. Let's say if I have a crazy 50, and you're supporting me by looking midfield, or you turn out this way if they get a really good clear like this, and then you're able to reset it and look to possibly hit it midfield, or just reset the offense, right? Because they're going to approach something like this. They're going to have a, you know, attacker here, right? Let's say if this guy gets a fat clear, he's going to turn out, right? So Arc would. So let me show you. So let me play it a little bit. So he's going to go. Arc's going to check deep like this. He gets a super fat clear. And then I force, Arc turns. Okay, ignore what he does right now. This is what should be what happens. Okay, now here's the thing. So he turns early. So this is actually a small inaccuracy. So that means that now two players are marking this. Now my position is very much set that I'm marking this first. If he turns in, he's also marking. So now we're the same person, pretty much. We're the same attacker. And when I told him, as I said, look, dude, if you want to run it like this, where you play that, that's fine. I'm going to be able to come around like this. And I don't really like my angle. I feel like it's much better if you go for it, because my angle has to hit it like here. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm like, mechanically, it's very precise. And I have to be very precise in order for me to be able to do something with this. And I go, but it's not the end of the world. And I should be able to do that. And I go, but I feel like it's much better if you just come around like this, and then you look to see on a half turn if you come here, or if you come here, right? Or you could maybe come in a sideline, depending on, you know, the situation, right? You know, because I'm going to have, let's say I land that 50, right? Now he's going to slot in the sideline. Okay, but let's say I land the 50 and he's looking to see what's going on. He could come this way, he could come sideline, right? Or they get a free clear, and in this case, he reacts by doing, you know, if this were A and that were B, he reacts by doing choice C. You guys can see what I'm talking about. So it's a very small thing, you know what I mean? It's an inside close, you know, your first man, and rather than rotating out, you rotate inside of your guy, and you could rotate in one of two ways. You can either rotate here close and follow these pad lines, or rotate on the sideline and come around like this, right? Either or is the same, and then your third man kind of plays with himself, and he just kind of does a little check two movement. Okay, I'm out. Check two movement. Okay, rotate out. Cloud9 back in 2018, I think, is a fantastic example of this. Back with Torment and Gimmick. You guys can watch some of the World Championship finals of Cloud9 with Torment and Gimmick and see exactly what I'm talking about, where Gimmick was doing that over and over. So because of the small error, it now means that they basically get a super free clear, and he can now get a free clear into this, and I'm going to be super awkward. It also means that this target player becomes activated. So where normally Arc would be turning into either mark this or mark the shot, because he would be right around here, or he'd be turning onto the wall in case the free clear would come in. Or if, you know, we pre-plan it and he goes here, and then my third goes here, and I tackle him this way, that could also work. I don't like it, actually. I prefer, again, the arc thing. I prefer arc to it. So in any case, somebody's got to be here. Somebody's got to be, somebody's got to be marking the clear, and then somebody's got to be back. You know what I mean? And I'm like, either I go and then you play back, or you go and then I play back, but one of the two has to happen. We can't have two guys going into the same thing. And I'm like, this is a big mistake, because now what's going to happen is I'm going to feel awkward. And now I see that you're going, so I'm going to be like, oh, okay, he's turning in. Let me not turn, and now I'm going to turn out. But then he turns out too, and now we just gave them so much of the free field of space, and now they all get to reset, they all get boosts, they all get pads, and I think this is very unfavorable. He's having to shake this 50 into the corner, which is a very weird angle, and it's very awkward. Now I do land a very positive 50 there, but it's still very, very weird, and I don't like it. I think Beast's position is actually really threatening here. I think the fact that I was able to get this over fucking Squishy is actually a lifesaver. It's now going to go back into Delta, and he's going to play second to Delta. Squishy's going to rotate out, and then we end up in our standard position. So I'm going to go back into full speed. We're going to continue. So you guys can see I'm second man here on the wall. I can't really go for it, and it's a huge discipline thing. I see so many people when they're in these kinds of positions, they'll just throw themselves at the ball, even when it's not favorable. Just by virtue of being here, you guys are going to force them to do something. I see two guys up. I'm going to trust their hits, right? Arc doesn't really do much with this, but there's not really much he could do from that angle. And if you could see Squishy, he actually really surprised me. I was not used to this. I'm actually disrespecting him a little bit here. I will say that, because I'm expecting somebody not to have this level of control. Now, if I knew beforehand that he has that level of control, what I would do is play much farther back. And I would respect the fact that he's going to be able to hit it around me in this position. I was not respecting the fact that he could hit it around me. He actually hit it around me, and now he gets to reset the entire field of space. I was very surprised at that and going, wow. That was interesting. I look to turn in. Somebody covers the midfield. That's fantastic. I land a beat over Beast. And Beast, again, lots of discipline for Beast. He's looking from this opposite side zone third. He looks to play the contract, and he sees, oh, okay, I'm probably not going to beat him. He doesn't even bother diving. He's just checking two, and he's going to rotate out. He's going to serve his field position. Now KJ is going to be able to get a touch outward, and it looked a little scary. And I did kind of an oopsie, but I talked to Ark about this. So my problem is that, like you see Arc and it looks free, right? But one of the things I warned you guys on the channel a million times in one is that the 1 to 3, which is Delta in this position, right? He was the first man that rotated out because Delta was just the first man who just went. So he's first man now rotating out, right? Goes and grabs the full, rotates back, right? And he's now on the 1 to 3, opposite side zone coverage. I told you guys, if you guys try to throw it mid, right, you guys got to do it carefully, because the 1 to 3 is going to be looking to cut these off, and you can bait your teammate and they get free goals. Now, if you look at Arc's position, Arc's not going to see him in the frame. Barely. You have to know this beforehand, that this is going to happen. You have to know this. And so when I was in the match, I said, I baited you, my fault. I'm like, that's my fault. And it's a tough position, because what a lot of stupid idiots will do in the YouTube is, they'll see me just kind of hit it here, and they'll think to themselves, oh, he just gave away the ball. It's like, I'm playing at a level that you don't understand, because I know for a fact if I just hit this mid, they're 1 to 3, it's probably going to nail this. And he's going to nail my teammate. And what does that mean? It means that I just gave away the ball. So now I'm out of the position, and then my teammate's going to be baited, and now he's going to dive at it, and my third man is already upfield. You know what I mean? And that means that if he lands it past him, it's like dead. Like, this position's over. Like, even if you take it in the corner like this and Delta hits in the corner and he whiffs, it's extremely uncomfortable to be playing that position against professionals. I will tell you that. So to me, just hitting it off here and forcing them to clear it into the side is much better if I know that I'm not going to be able to get anything out of this. And also way better if I know that KJ, my target player, is not somewhere I can reach, because you could see me, I have 0 boost. I'm not able to do much. So a lot of people will say, and they'll criticize you for just giving the ball up, but they don't quite understand that if you just try and throw it mid and you be lazy about this, this is a very real problem that'll happen at the higher levels right here. You'll bait your teammate into going. It's happened on a lot of different occasions. I can tell you when I played 72 pin connector all those years ago, this was another problem that I dealt with. And, even against smaller teams, when I played competitively, I dealt with this problem. You know, it was a... So if you guys are trying to figure that out on your own, what I would tell you is, if you guys are going to run into that issue, I would say be very careful. You know, what I prioritize is basically, you know, if you end up in these kinds of situations, you know, if you can't hit it into your target player, and I see that they even have a guy marking this midfield, I'm never going to dive it here because I'm just going to assume this guy's going to win it, like every time, you know? And even then, if I put it midfield, I'm now out of the play. This guy's out of the play because he's forward facing on this. Well, not even forward facing, but he's just ahead of the play. You know what I mean? Like the ball's here and he's ahead of this. He's not even behind. He's not goal side of this play at all, right? So if I go and I hit it here, that means he's out of the play. I'm going to bait him into diving, so he has to land a really good 50 in order to even equalize this position at the same time that I'm out and I'm low boost and I'm going to have a bad recovery. So to me, it's never really worth it to go and throw it mid in these kinds of positions. It's much better to say, you know, do I have a target player? KJ? No. Okay, well, I'm just going to throw it on net. Simplify it. Make it easy, you know? Because what's the alternative? You know, I'm low boost, I take it off the wall and I try to beat Beastabonium with 0. I'm never going to win that. You know what I mean? I'm never going to win that. Unless I do something like absolutely stupid crazy. So there's a lot of mechanical stress on the position, or you shoot it, you force them to clear it, you know, as square as possible. Like hopefully in the corner, not out into our corner, but like into their own corner. That would be really nice. And then Arc takes the bounce. That would be very nice. And I'm comfortable with those trades rather than, you know, forcing him in a bad spot. So that's something that's a really good point I think you guys can take away from this video. Oh, we'll continue. Okay. And I think on our end, it's a little messy, but okay, yep. So he hits it. And I want you to note, guys, when we're in the corner here, you know, there's a very tight angle that they have to hit. You know, it's a very tight angle. And no matter what, they're not really going to ever get like a super powerful shot on net. And even if they do get a super powerful shot on net, it's still super tight. So the second man on front post is going to be able to mark most of this net. So I'm not really concerned even if I lose this 50. I'm actually favoring myself to lose it. I would rather lose it, you know, because then it goes back into my teammate and then he can take possession. So it goes up, and I'm thinking you know, you're going to see me turn here and turn left, and when I should have turned right. I thought that somebody was on this ball, and so I really respected Delta on it. I also want to note, Delta's been around forever, this guy. I mean, I used to play rank A with him, and he was pretty good. He was definitely one of the higher end players in rank A in 2018. He's been a bubble player forever, so it's no doubt to me that he's now in the professional scene. I mean, he's just been playing for so long at this point that I'm just like, dude, just get a fucking contract already. And double commit. And this is a position where, to me, I mean, I really don't feel like getting into this. What I'll just say is that there's two people that can go. It's right here and right here. I mean, it's two people that could go. So just imagine I'm this guy who's now diving for it, and Arc is this guy, but he's just in this forward position. Both guys can go, right? And it sort of runs the whole theme of previously, where I was in that previous example with the corner. I was here, going here, and I was telling Arc he needs to go like this and then look in, or if it's a big clear, he can turn out in the wall if possible. So you can do that. I said for uniformity, go ahead and you go. I'm like, but this is a case where either of us can go. It's just a kind of a comms thing, but we also have to pre-plan it. Because even if we both say we're diving at this last second, we're still going to both dive. Like, there's no comm that's going to, like, fix that, you know? So I told him, like, in general, like, if you're in these positions, you're playing third, I'm going to trust your judgment. Go ahead and go for it first. Unless it's like an absolute freebie for the second man, then 100% let me go for it, right? So I told them that. It's a neat thing to talk about in teams. So we get a double commit, and they're able to just to control the ball and score. And after that, it was just a pretty even game, honestly. I mean, it was just two very small mistakes. I mean, you could see the small mistakes that end up being huge holes in the position, but it's never something that's ridiculous. I want to I beat Squishy on a 50. Not many people could say that. Well, he played my high. He was really respecting me, actually. Damn, okay, bro. Okay, go for it now. It's high. There it goes. So, this is real, by the way. Sorry to tell you. Squishy was really playing for my high, forced it low, goes into delta. I'm gonna rotate out. KJ is gonna dive, which is good. Ark is gonna decide to dive, which he should be beat there. I'd expect him to be beat, and he's like, I think I'm beat. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, you're definitely beat. And he almost slots it, bar down. That was a scary position. Definitely should have been punished, honestly. I'm playing super forward. I was just, honestly just being really, like, I was like a full prayer offense built on, you know, hopes and prayers. Squishy here, if he dives for this, I know he's not really got much of an angle. And, you know, Delta doesn't really have much of an angle, so I just got to kind of throw myself at it. And, you know, we'll be okay. I decided to cut here. And I was really scared for what's-his-face in this position, mainly because usually you have somebody that's really, really heavy marking this. Let me look at Ark's POV. So, normally Beast should be on this. I think he rotated out, though. Something in my bones just said, I need to go for this. I don't think it's bad. Just because normally you have somebody cutting in close like this. And it's 50 him awkward. So, if he takes any more time on this than usual, I'm like... I'm feeling a little bit scared. I also thought he could get bumped, and if I have to slow my momentum down, you know, when a guy has full and I'm super low boost and he gets bumped, it's really awkward. So I just said, I'm taking this off. Like I'm just grabbing this. I'm like, I'm going for this. I'm sorry, bro. You know, KJ plays this correctly. Ark gets a free ball. I'm gonna now take his position. I'm gonna rotate super wide. You guys can see me rotate, doing exactly what I talked about, and I kind of give it away. This is not really that good. Like, you know, the positioning I think is fantastic for myself. I just think if I'm gonna do something with this, I was actually trying to pass it over to KJ. I think I remember that. It's like, can I pass it into you? And I put too much height on it, and then that gives him a free ball. It gives him a free floater. And you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about with this clear. The reason why this is so crucial coming out is because you can see if it pops in a beast and they get this free clear, I'm trying to really shove that over into the corner, and I want to deny this as much as I can. To make it easier for Ark and also kind of negate their counterattack that's coming in, because Delta's scary here. Well, this is a very scary position for Ark. And so we end up being okay. Beast decides to take sideline, which is good. Ark gets it over one. And now, you know, who am I watching? The Delta has to take a bad 50, which is really good. So this was really well played from Ark. We're going to continue. KJ's going to mark first. And now we wait. Yep, good. This is good. And I'm happy with these trades. He's going to go for bumps. And this is fine if he rotates wide. KJ's going to early dive, but lands this. This is actually really impressive. I was like, I remember watching this and thinking to myself, yo, dude, this is crazy. You see him. So he's waiting for that pass. He's waiting here, and it forces the over, and really cool. Now Beast is awkward, forced into another bad 50. You know, so when we're on it, we're on it. Like, this is fantastic. And I feel like so far this exchange that we've had has actually been dead equal. I think actually I should not let Delta hit this over me. I shouldn't let him do that. We get the big clear. We get the reset. I'm going to be left side zone. I'm going to wait for big clear. I'm going to play the over. He ends up hitting it right into him. KJ played for his 50 right on that down. I'm expecting to get demoed by Squishy, and I'm just kind of hoping and praying, but he ended up going on the wall instead. So rather than demoing me, he decided to go over onto the wall. And this is very scary. It's like they're on the verge. They're like very close from turning this into a position that's very threatening. And KJ like baited Squishy with like a bad flip right here. Just kind of silly. And I'm able to land the over, try to get the bump, and I mean it's very close. From Beast, I try to get the bump, and I'm able to bump him a little bit, which forces their clear to be a little awkward. You can see that Squishy is playing this 1-3, you know, by rotating in back post, and I think he should do a little bit more with that, but that's also fine, I think. Arc with the bump. Nope, he can't get him. That's fine. Now we're looking. He's looking right here on this opposite side zone. He's waiting, which is beautiful. And this is good. Right here, hit that. Nope. He hit it bad. So he was fine here. If he wants to 50 this, actually he could. He could even 50 it right about now. But instead he went on the wall, and you never want to be not goal side to this. Because he did everything right except for the part where he's not goal side, and now he's shaking this 50 goal side. And me, in my position, is very much set that it's supposed to be an even 50, and actually this could have been a potential open net. So this small mistake actually could have been a real big open net for Delta. It was open right there. You guys could see the angle. He ends up missing it. So it's another important thing to note, why you don't want to be not goal side of these 50s right here, because that could be a very dangerous ball. It's going to be on the opposite side zone. It's going to force the over, which is fine. He's going to rotate out. Yep, this is all good. I'm not really concerned about Squishy. And even trade. Actually, I'm kind of scared for Squishy. Nope, we're good. Okay. So you could see, just to show my perspective, I didn't really hit that well, but now I'm going to play second man on the wall. I see Squishy's up, and I'm like, okay, he's not really going to have a good touch. And I see this, I'm like, oh, instantly go for it. And Delta's going to cross, and this is fine. And I tried to go for the boost. I end up, that's a kind of a bad decision. I should not allow that, but we get a free clear. And try to hit it in a KJ in the cross. There's an error here. Somebody should be in my diagonal here. What happened here? What did KJ do? So he played it super close. Oh no, this is very wrong. Okay, so here's what it should be. It should be from KJ. Everything he's doing so far is correct. It should be like this. Keep it simple, like this. And then he can kind of spread out like this. And then, you know, he could take a touch and try to beat Squishy with the ball landing on the left side of his car. And he could try to flick him. So that was very weird. And you can see, as far as what the pros are doing, it's like they're not really doing anything that is extremely insane, but they're very consistent at doing basically what they need to out of the position. That's basically what they do. You know, it's never, they're gonna have moments where they're just gonna literally smurf the fuck out of the position. You're like, this is the fucking wildest shit I've ever seen. They're gonna have those moments. Majority of the time, they're making really good first touches. They're making really good 50s. They're taking it off the wall, their own backboard, and, you know, positions that are at least somewhat a little bit awkward, they're going to do really well with it. I think that is the mark of a pro. It's not somebody that is extremely, really... it's not somebody that's insanely mechanically gifted. I think it's the mark of somebody that can take kind of awkward positions and that require the mechanical precision to equalize, and they're going to be able to do it. So, that was a little fun thing. It was fun that I ran into him because, you know, for me, I've retired. I haven't played for you know, seriously since 2022 really, and to run back into old professionals reminds me of you know, competing back in the day. So that was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the instruction, and much love to all of you.